let's talk about your team so far this year. Talk about the changes that people might not know or what people should know about your team coming into this season.
Yeah, there's a lot of familiarity. Probably, I think we've got a lot of experience coming back offensively. I think like 74% of our at bats are returning. When you look at just the lineup alone, on the mound, there's going to be some familiar faces. We do have a lot of new faces on the mound. We've got 11 new pitchers, I believe. So offensively, a lot of experience. Hopefully, that'll be a strength of ours. On the mound, we've got some key pieces returning with Brett and Cade and some other guys that got some experience at a young age last year. So, yeah, we're excited to get it rolling later on in the week. We've had a good, preseason, I guess, if you will. Weather's been good enough for us to get out when we need to get out after the tough snow week. So now our guys are excited, ready to play someone else, and ready to start the journey.
And just talk about that experience. How good is that to be able to have coming into a season where you don't necessarily need to let guys get up to speed? They've already kind of been there and had that experience.
Yeah, well, you hope so. I mean, ideally, experience just helps you because they kind of have been in certain moments before. It's not a prerequisite for success. You can certainly have some success without having experience. And there's certainly some times where guys think just because they're experienced, they're going to perform at a high level. It doesn't always match up. But I think any coach would prefer to have an older group of guys who have kind of been through the rigors of a Division I season, in which we have. So hopefully they utilize that experience. And ideally, man, we pick right up what we did from the WAC championship game with that same taste in our mouth. We've talked a ton about a sense of urgency. We've talked a ton about, just getting guys ready for what it's going to look like day to day. And I think us operate with some focus, with some intensity, with some urgency for what we hope is like a 54-game playoff upcoming here. That's how we're going to try to attack it and look at it. So there's a ton of similarities to this group. 2021 won a regular season championship. 2022 had a lot of those guys back. Took that group a little while to kind of get rolling before they did make it to the conference championship game. So hopefully trying to apply some lessons I may have learned as a coach then to this group now. So, but I really like our leadership. We've got some really good people in our room right now. So hopefully we can keep on working, develop, get better, and see where this thing ends at the end.
And I actually saw one of your tweets today regarding your WAC championship ring. You called that the kind of the last chapter of closing 2025, opening 2026. Talk about how important that is, that you celebrate the past, but then you move forward and are able to move on to this season.
Yeah, and I think that's each team's its own. Fortunately, there's been some people in the room on our staff and in the organization that have just been around, So I think at the end of each year, there is a time of reflection and all right, where are we? Where do we want to keep working towards? What are some areas of things we're doing well? What are some areas of things we've got to continue to get better? But man, when there's some success within a program, you certainly want to celebrate it. So that group last year was great. There's a lot of that coming back, returning, but there's a lot of that's gone. So we certainly want to celebrate those, and we did that at our first pitch dinner, I guess 2 weeks ago now, in which had as many guys back from that 25 team, revealed the rings for the first time. No one had really seen them. So, it was a great way to kind of close the chapter on 2025 right here in time for us to have opening day coming up here this week.
And going against St. Thomas, just talk about the team. How excited are they that they finally get to play people in another uniform? How ready are they? What kind of mentality are they coming into it with?
Yeah, I think our group does a good. It's always about us. Like I think we want to focus on what we do well. Our energy, our discipline, our toughness, those things are key. Now, they would certainly prefer to play and exercise some of those against an opponent. So we wrapped up, we scrimmaged 6 times last week. So we wrapped that up yesterday. So I'm sure they're ready to face another pitcher, and the pitchers are ready to face another hitter for sure. But St. Thomas is going to come in with championship pedigree. They're probably better than you want them to be, opening weekend. They've won the last 2 Summit League championships. Very storied tradition, Division III. They've transitioned to Division I here of late. So Very well coached. They've got, from an offensive standpoint, a lot of guys that are returning. So, man, it's going to be, I hope, some quality baseball here at Bullock Brothers Ballpark this weekend. So we're excited to play, and I'm sure they're excited to get down here and get in some weather and get on the field. And we're both going to learn some things this weekend about our team that we don't know right now, which is why you play.
And you guys talked a lot about staying within yourself, staying within your side. Just talk about what you're looking for as a coach for your team, not only just this opening weekend, but throughout the season.
Yeah, I think it comes down to, and we talk about this quite a bit. It's the offense that can put the most pressure on the defense for the duration of the series or the game. It's the pitching staff that can just continue to create some count leverage by throwing strikes and being inside the zone competitively. We try to take a ton of pride in both of those, pressuring their defense and putting pressure on their offense. And then there's just the most basic things of just catching the baseball, throwing the baseball. So we always talk about do simple better. Hopefully if we can show up this weekend and just do the basic things, well, we'll have a chance to win most games, at least there at the end. And then it comes down to execution and performance. So that'll be the message all year, and it has been, man, that the team that does the most simple things well in our sport usually puts themselves in a position to win. So hopefully we'll get off to a good start and doing those basic things this weekend and have a chance to win some games late.
You talked about having a lot of inexperience on the mound, but you bring back Brett, who was behind Dom last year, but still showed a lot of promise his freshman year.
Yeah.
Have you seen him kind of step into leading with Dom gone?
Yeah, no, it's great. Brett's super seasoned, right? Like anytime you have a guy that was the conference pitcher of the year his freshman year, back for his junior year, that's exciting. So he's got a ton of experience. I think he's 14-4 in his starts here in terms of his decisions. So we feel good about that. Now, it's a new year. He's going to have to go out there with a chip on his shoulder, and he was not preseason conference pitcher of the year, which is good. He's got a chip on his shoulder in terms of going out and performing well, and he's got the vision of wanting to continue his career. So I think last year having Dom around, we tried to pin those two guys against each other about every opportunity we have because they're both alpha males to try to compete against each other. So he's in a really good place, I think, going into the spring. Cade McGar the same. I think Cade comes back with some experience in a couple of different roles. He's closed for us here early in his career. He started last year. So, no, you feel good about anytime you bring back two rotation starters, you at least know you've got some experience there. So then some other guys have some opportunities, I think, to roll into those other roles.
And you talked about returning a lot of your number of at-bats. A lot of those are Braden Regala. How have you seen him go from a really solid freshman campaign to now being a leader on the team?
Yeah, no, I think we want to take pride in helping guys develop, right? Like I think anytime you get a young player like Brady Gray last year, those are our most two recent freshmen that started every day for us pretty much when they were healthy. So they get that experience and they come back in year two, and then there's what's the next thing we got to work on? So I think with Braden it's just more consistent at bats. He's been really good defensively since day one. Obviously there's the speed tool that doesn't go into slumps very often when you can get on base. So just the overall offensive development, continue to kind of drive that forward a little bit more each day. So no, he's been great. We feel really good about the young people in our program right now.
And then along with that, Brady Gray and Brady Coe. Brady Coe went and got some summer experience playing some summer ball. Have you seen him kind of grow and progress, and what's your plan for him this season?
He'll the same middle infield, and he'll probably fit in the back end, of games for us. So had the tough hit with mono last year that really kind of kept him down, but he's back and better, honestly, than he was prior to that at this point. So we're excited about him. Competes at a high level, got a really good arsenal. So when he's over the plate, it's fun to watch, sometimes. So now we're excited about him returning.
And then you've got a really experienced team, 12 seniors, 4 grads, one of those being JT Thompson, who had some big Power 4 experience. Have you seen him kind of adapt to the program coming back home?
Yeah, JT's, I hope, a really cool story for us. We've recruited him once, didn't get him, went to Rutgers. Now he's back here at home. Man, I think he's jumped right in, hadn't missed a beat. He's a very good baseball player. I think he's a winning player. He does a lot of things right on the field. So we're excited that he's here. We're excited he'll finish his career here at home and hopefully helping us do some things that's never been done before. So it's been fun to have him around.
And then you've got a really experienced infield with Zanton and JT and Sam at third. Just how important is that for that group to be, playing impactful innings?
Yeah, you feel good about it. Again, I think experience is great. Hopefully you have some maturity with the at-bats, the ability to focus and move on from some bad at-bats or good at-bats, I think, as you go through. But, yeah, when you look from left all the way over to the right, there's some experience within our lineup. You've got Diego and Grant returning at first, and then all the way around the infield, as you mentioned, a few guys. So we're excited about those guys. We want them to get themselves in position to finish really, really strong.
And then loaded non-conference schedule. You've got a bunch of Power Fours, a bunch of really good tests. What is your kind of message to the team throughout a tough schedule?
Yeah, the message is there's not one win on our schedule. I think it's pretty – and that's how we want it. I think sometimes in our sport there's some games you've got to play very well to have a chance to win. Sometimes there may be some other programs will try to have some weekends where, man, if they just kind of show up and do their thing, good things are probably going to happen. If we don't play well in these early games, we'll lose. I mean, it's as simple as that. So because the teams we're playing have strong traditions. So I'm very pleased with our I don't know. We've got some really good power majors with baseball tradition coming in. St. Thomas is a growing Division I program, but again, already have championship pedigree. You've got Oral Roberts, who's been to Omaha. You've got Rice, that's been to Omaha. We're playing Texas State, Creighton in a weekend event over in Claiborne, like two historically tradition-rich programs. Loyola Marymount's coming in from California. Again, real good baseball school. So when you start to just think about the first 5 weekends, it's going to be a really good measuring stick for us as a private faith-based institution, which we want to dominate that world first. But then you've got the TCUs and the Techs and all the other Power Fours here in our state that we get the opportunity to play and compete against. So, I think our guys are excited about that, knowing that, there's going to be some expectation on our end for sure, but there's also going to be the other team coming in that's going to expect to beat us. So that's exactly what you want, I think, when you draw up a schedule. So hopefully we can jump out to a great start. That'd be ideal. But if not, well, like I said, we're going to have some learning moments, I'm sure, here early in the week.
And then last season with the construction and all the kind of chaos that brought in, guys, to have the facilities fully there without the distraction this year?
Man, that's been good. Last year was a little bit more taxing probably than I realized until we kind of got started. It was just a lot of bandwidth pulled a lot of different ways. What I do know now is it's just a totally different experience for our players. It's a totally different experience for our staff as we get in and have staff meetings. We've got the space to do it. We probably had, 12 scouts that came out, last weekend to watch. And some guys, prep and get ready, and it's like, man, it's a brand new experience for the scouts. A lot of people that have never been to or weren't able to make a game last year, when they come this spring, it'll be a different experience for them. So, man, I'm so grateful for all the people that committed to that project and have got us in a position of strength in the new world of college athletics, where it's just so volatile. It's great to be at a place that values athletics, but also doing it the right way. So, man, I can't say thank you enough for getting to walk into our offices every morning. I've got the best view on campus, to get to look out over a baseball field. Even when it was covered with snow 2 weeks ago, it's still a pretty cool view. So, now super thankful for our leadership here at ACU, our athletic administration, and all the people that went behind that. So, excited to play a full season in the stadium this spring.
And you mentioned it kind of stretched you a little bit more bandwidth than you were expecting. What does it say about that team having to go through that, playing a tough schedule, and still making the run that they did?
Man, last year's team's going to hold a special place for me. We've had a couple good runs. The 21 team that won 11 straight to kind of get rolling. Going 13-2 when you have no choice not to to climb all the way back literally to the last pitch of the season to get that share of the conference championship. Man, you've got to have a strong culture of guys that just refuse to not break. Man, I think a ton of that comes down. It starts with them for sure. But man, there's an ACU difference in that world that I share every opportunity I have. But we had an opportunity to go on a mission trip last year. And as you go through mission trip, there's some vulnerability. There's some just intimate conversations that are a little bit more deeper than I think most teams have and get into. There's zero question in my mind when we started our league 2-7 last year. Everyone's second guessing what's going on. Now we were banged up. We had some injuries and some other stuff, so we were kind of going against. But for them to kind of just grab it, own it, be accountable with it, us as a staff as well. We made a few changes and tweaks during that time. But man, for those guys to stay together, show some resolve, show some resilience, like that's a life thing. Like they will remember that for their life. And every time they come back and we bring them back in 10 years to celebrate a championship, man, I'm assuming that's probably going to be the first talking point. You know, if you've seen the rings, we put 13-2 at the bottom of the ring, like just as a reminder of like, man, when life's not great, keep working. You know, good things are hopefully around the corner. Not always, but last year it certainly was for that group.
The last one more. I mean, talking about your infield, and then talk about how that helps a little bit more of inexperienced pitchers to have that kind of a veteran infield behind them, knowing, hey, even if I give up contact, I know some guys are going to be there to help me out. How helpful is that as a staff that you have that veteran leadership back there?
Yeah, no, I think there's just comfortability when guys have been in the rigors of certain games, you know, certain venues. So to know that those guys are behind you with experience to kind of calm things down or to put a pick on when things are kind of going haywire, it's great. Like I said, the same thing about Maddox, Meese, and Brady are behind the plate. You know, throwing to some guys that, again, have just been there and they have the ability to slow things down. You know, I think young players sometimes it's really easy for all of us, but especially a guy with limited experience, to focus on all the noise and the situation and the circumstance and the call they didn't get or the play that wasn't made or the weather. Like there's 1,000 different excuses all the time. Older guys usually have an opportunity. They just dig in and they understand that's just part of it. And honestly, the extremes are the ones that you remember, you know, like the tight games, the extra inning games, the bad weather games. No one remembers the 12-1 game against someone, you know, but the 13-12 game, everyone seems to remember, or the walk-off. So we want to be really good in those extraordinary environments. And then hopefully we do a good job competing or tough enough to handle them.